There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks, I'm Matt.
Wow, it is coming in hot tonight, Cuckoo. Hot.
You know what? I'm super happy you're back.
In the land of the living.
I did not like talking to myself.
You did a pretty good job on
Thank you.
there. You
Thank
kept
you.
it going.
But, really am
I
happy
really
to have you
enjoy your stories when you get angry and frustrated.
back. You would have loved the deleted episode.
Well, yeah, I was going to
It
talk.
got erased because it was too salty.
I was going to talk about that off air, and we just
We will
didn't.
talk about it off air, but it
Okay,
was
great.
very salty.
Good.
And I had to cut it because I found out that someone just.
I heard you had a mole.
They ratted themselves out and say, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. I love it," and it wasn't about that person, but about someone they know. And that's when I said, "I got to deep six this." Not that I wouldn't tell that to their face, because I think I would. I would.
Well, we both can.
Be brought up.
I can relate to getting deep sixed by something you would say to someone's face, or you've already said it before, and all of a sudden, now it doesn't resonate the way it used to.
No. But the thing is, though, it's not that I want to hide this from the person. If they were to come up to me and talk about it, I would definitely tell them.
Right.
But I really got frustrated with it, and so as I was like, well, I'll just let it go because none of those people are gonna listen. That's the great thing about having a small podcast. No one here is gonna listen. Not
Sure.
many people, or the
Sure.
people that know people. And anything I say, if it does get realized, I'm fine with it, you know. But I was like, well, they know, so that'd be kind of, yeah, all right.
Do you have any
So
final
that's it.
thoughts on your wedding experience that you weren't able to capture for the 2-week podcast?
Did I not capture it? I thought.
Well,
I
I
did.
mean, you captured it pretty good. I didn't know if
captured
you
it
had
pretty good.
anything that you had thought about maybe that you didn't
Afterwards,
get to talk about.
No, I talked about it all. And like I said, I treat every wedding that I'm in as my last. And if that was my last, that was a good one.
I enjoyed your story about painful sleeping.
I did not sleep. That was something. Yeah, that fold away was obviously slanted toward the end there, and it was bad. It was bad. Tried to be the polite person, but could not sleep.
These mid-40 bodies just don't fold up the way they used to.
Yeah, I was hurting. I'll be
bet.
honest.
Yeah.
That was a bad last couple of days for me. So really bad. But anyway, they're done now.
Okay.
I mean, some people have felt way worse, and so I can't really complain.
Decades worse.
Anyway, how have you been, Moth?
Moth has been well.
Okay.
I just celebrated my 1 year with my lady friend.
That is awesome to hear.
Yep. My good friend Flip came into town last week and hung out with us.
Oh, good.
Met Brandon. We had a big time. Brandon did his comedy act of trauma from his family, and
The episode that we did with Brandon, the last episode we did with Brandon, is got to be
let Brandon cook.
is probably the top podcast for me because I had the best time.
I did. I've listened to it in some.
It doesn't translate,
Yeah, unfortunately.
unfortunately. And you text that to me, and I didn't hear much feedback from anyone else. But if everyone thought, wow, they were because we're quiet, but we're laughing, we're dying.
We're trying to keep it together.
It's one of the things where you had to be there.
He's told
sadly.
me some more stories since then, so I
wish he would stop giving away gold because we got more questions. And I don't care what people think. We're going to do it again because it just.
He told me a story about his mother, and maybe he'll get in on the podcast. But I call
We
it,
invited him, by the way, tonight. Let
said-
it be known.
is that the beginning of your mom breaking up with you? And we have talked about it since then. And he said, I think that's a great line. And I was like, well, that's kind of how it sounds.
But the thing is, people don't understand. Those questions were not planned. I was just reading from one card to the next. I wasn't picking them out or anything. And it could not have been perfect. It could not have been more perfect.
I can't believe he's done so well with it. When he tells me these stories now, and I have carried a backpack of anger and frustration toward my parents for many years. and it's slowly emptying out. But I think he's got me beat, and
Yeah.
he is still making it work with his folks. So bravo to him.
Well, the thing is, Brandon is a stand-up guy.
He
He's
is.
honestly, I am super thankful. I'm super thankful to have him as a friend. He's just an awesome guy. He can make fun of himself. But the thing is, though, he's not a pushover. He knows his stuff. He's
Yep.
his own man. He knows more than me. So super talented, super skilled.
If he doesn't know how to do something, he knows somebody. So those
He
are
knows
good
somebody.
people to always have.
But he's a good friend too. He's a
I
good
just wish he would have had a better counselor or someone present in his formative years to maybe he could have worked through this before he got in his mid 40s.
and maybe got better friends too.
Possibly so. Yeah.
But honestly, I was really happy for him to come on and do that, and I love him to death. I got him a Wing Dang Duel shirt I was going to present to him. I sent him a picture. He's like, "Yes, I'm not even joking, dude. I want that." It's like, it's already yours. I already bought it. So I had to go get him one. But I've been doing the play. I've been meeting your friend, Robin, now our friend,
Yes.
Robin. All heart, 100%
Man,
heart.
she is like a
110%.
she loves
heart.
Hallmark movies, and she's kind of so syrupy it comes across.
The thing is, though, she is 100% giving and so kind.
She reminds me of Butters on South Park. She's a lot like my lady friend in that way. They're just overly nice.
They are, and it's not a fake niceness. It is not fake. It is genuine,
Yeah.
and she just wants to give the world a hug.
Yeah, it is. It's very odd in today's.
It is odd that someone
World.
just wants to make everyone else happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not that she is not selfish at all.
No, she's very much a very giving person.
Very giving person. And so and the thing is, everyone can be attracted to that. I mean, if you don't like her, then there's a problem with you. Is what,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what I'm convinced now. Just very awesome. So I've gotten to meet her, talk with her. We've taken some pictures for you.
Yep.
Thought about you, talked about you
Yep.
more than once.
Well,
the cast can't wait to see you.
Well, great.
Yeah.
I'll be making an appearance
Oh,
right around the corner.
it will be known.
Great.
It will be known when you walk in the door.
Terrific.
But but anyway, besides that, and what else has happened? Well, one thing we didn't get to celebrate because me being in the stupid show was the Mets. I just did a podcast on the Mets.
I enjoyed your podcast on the Mets.
Yeah, and I've mentioned and talked a few of those stories, but I just wanted to talk about just my concern. Now, you are a Yankees fan, correct?
Yes, been a Yankees
Yes.
fan since 1987.
And we talked about this when we talked about baseball cards, that Don Mattingly, and I'll be honest, love Don Mattingly. I'm not a Yankees fan at all, but Don Mattingly, stand-up guy. Love Don Mattingly. And I've heard about your journey before, and it's great, and congratulations for your Yankees.
Very happy.
Yeah,
Very happy.
it's been a very long time for you guys.
Yeah,
Has it been since the year 2000?
2009 is when
2009.
they last time they.
Right.
And if they had not won it that year, basically it would be
2000.
yeah.
They won
I mean,
against
it
the Mets.
was because they lost 2001 against Arizona,
Arizona Diamondbacks.
and then
Great game.
that's probably the best game 7, at least at my generation. I don't know that 91
91
Twins
and
Braves
Braves was
went 10
amazing.
innings or what 11 innings.
Zero scores, robbed home runs, and then Kirby Puckett solo shot
Yeah.
ended. Hollywood can't write it
Yep.
better. So, but I would be honest, that Diamondbacks Yankees one was a big one.
Yeah.
I could go through my head. Obviously, I love the '86 World Series, but it was Game 6 is where the magic,
Right.
just the impossible happened.
It's
So-
we've seen that play so many times, the Buckner play, and when you see it again and you haven't seen it in a couple of years, it is pretty incredible to watch.
Well, I was telling a buddy of mine, because my buddy is also a Mets fan. He's also a Tigers fan too, because Tom Selleck in Magnum PI was a
told me
Tigers
about
fan.
that.
Yeah, great reason to be a Tigers fan. But anyway, he cheers for the Mets, and I told him when I was a kid watching that, I did not know the significance Because when Little League,
Well, yeah,
that
you were
happened
like-
all the time.
Yeah.
It scooted between your legs.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just a
It's
regular
good
error.
between my legs since Little League.
But I thought that was a regular mistake that you see all the time on the ball field. So, he made an error. What an amazing thing. He made an error. But now watching it, you're like, how? How did that happen? It's just incredible.
You would have to think
The
that was
timing,
one
the-
time out of 100.
Out of a
because
million.
that guy he wasn't a gold glove first baseman, but he was definitely above average.
He was one of the most solid hitters in the game.
Bill Buckner was just one
Well,
of those
Yeah.
ball players.
Yes, he was. He was an all-around solid ball player, respected by everyone. That's the only reason he got left in the game, because of respect.
Sure.
But an easy grounder. If it was a hop, taking a weird hop, or been a burner past him, no one would have blamed him.
Yeah, it just right under it.
Just right under, just incredible.
I always think it's interesting too, speaking on that game, when Ray Knight crosses the plate, the way he kind of jumps on home plate,
Yes,
it's so awkward looking. It almost, when you're my age, now you look at that and you go, I'm surprised he had hurt himself.
Well, remember what he did prior to that? He put his hands on his head,
Yeah.
on his helmet. Like, can you believe
Right.
what just happened?
Correct.
I mean, there's an amazing, there's shock. And to me, that's a little like, it wasn't about making a statement. It was like, I can't believe we just
No,
did
I
this.
agree. It's so awkward. He's
yeah,
trying
it
to
is awkward.
He's just like,
He makes a bounce on it, but the whole time, I love how I can see this close to my eyes. He's
Yeah.
holding his head on his helmet, just going, and it's not like we did it. It's like, I can't believe this is happening. I'm dreaming here.
Ray Knight's one of those guys that he reminds me of like the Wax Pack book that we've talked about and read. Like he's one of those guys that was on ESPN in the late 80s, early 90s. Then he coached the Reds again, and then I don't know what all he did, but he was like a good personality guy.
I liked, of course, I'm a big fan, but I liked all the Mets back then. I just thought they were all, obviously Gary Carter was a most loved person. Like I said, Keith Hernandez couldn't keep it together the day he died. Couldn't stop sobbing all day long, he said, loves the kid. I love that.
Yeah.
There's just lots of good stories and everything. But I want to ask you, since we're getting onto this topic, we're going to change topics here then. There's got to be some Yankees memories for you, especially that Triple Crown, what was it, 98, 99, 2000 season? Is there a moment like that for you? Is there a memory, or maybe it's something, was it when Mariano Rivera pitched his last game, or was it Derek Jeter's last game, or I don't know. For you, what are some memorable moments that are burned into your brain when it comes to the Yankees?
Well, when I started watching the Yankees, like I said, in '87 is when I became a fan, and then and then you kind of discover ESPN, and that was when baseball was a game a week and on like network TV and stuff. So I followed box scores and just I enjoyed and I really enjoyed because they were so bad in the early 90s. That's when I started getting into like the winter meetings and understanding the baseball business side of things.
Right.
And I enjoy that just as much as the game. It's kind of like the inside story that we always talk about, wrestling and the backstage news. But I mean, all sports, all professions have that. I love the business side of all that. And I've always enjoyed the Yankee side of it because of how much money they spend on their players. But they consistently are trying to win at some level. And they are the most consistent franchise at that. They're maximizing a payroll. And I'm not saying they are the most successful at winning, but they're the most successful is like they don't tank.
Right.
And that's pretty interesting to see after this many years, them consistently do that when so many good teams have come and gone by restructuring, and they still are consistent in trying to win. It's not like the Cowboys, where the Cowboys are like 5-11 one year and then are 12-5 the next year or something like that. It's a pretty consistent 90+ win team. Other than last year was the first year they were 500.
Right. So when you think about your favorite Yankees through the years,
Right.
my favorite. I mean, I love the whole '86 team, but Keith Hernandez was my favorite out of that. Of course, I'm a big Piazza fan. May love him more than Hernandez. I don't know. They're pretty much even in my book. But I was also, of course, a Bartolo Colon when he was on the team. David Wright, I loved. Some of those.
Boy, talk about a guy's career just did not pan out.
The best, one of the best in the business, but couldn't get on it. The team was never good, and then just suffered.
Well,
a
his
bunch
health
of injuries.
just
It just fell apart.
his body failed him.
Body fell apart at the end. Yeah, sad to see. But still was a big fan. Still was a big fan of David Wright. Do you have anyone like that that's on the shelf with Mattingly? Who's on the shelf?
I think Bernie Williams.
Okay, Bernie Williams, really?
Yeah, I think because out of all like those core Yankee teams, he was the least heralded guy that always. I mean, played center field,
Always
switch
clutch.
hitter.
Yeah.
Was always did everything pretty dang good.
Yeah, he did. He did. It's a good pick.
And the way he kind of stepped out of the game is interesting. It's a little like Mattingly, where he kind of just steps out and he kind of just fades away. Like, that's the heartbreaking thing with Mattingly is, in '96, well, this is all baseball. In '96, they pick up Cecil Fielder for that stretch run. Cecil Fielder's in that World Series. How unfortunate it is that Mattingly would not take that Cecil Fielder role and just bring him on as like a backup to Tino or something. And I know Cecil Fielder was right-handed and Mattingly hadn't played all year. But, man, to think that guy's career, he was right there before all of that happened, and he suffered through all of that just kind of average Yankee teams.
That's what
in
it
the
was.
mid '80s to
and then
up to
finally, as
that
he's stepping
that
down,
10-year run from '84 to '94. He was the face of the franchise that just couldn't quite get over the hump. And the year after he goes begins their incredible run.
Their incredible dominant run. You can say the same for Del Murphy when he was playing for the Braves.
Yep.
Incredible player, but on a last place basement dweller team.
Yeah.
But just like an incredible player.
Yeah, he's probably, those two guys have a lot in common.
Yeah. I was thinking of another one before you said that. There's another one that I always thought, man, what a great player, and he never got I cannot recall it now. I'll think about it later.
But I always put Bernie as the Yankee
unsung
next to Mattingly. Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't have to be more people on the shelf. Just anyone else. Because like I said, outside of the four I named, there's really. I mean, I like a lot of Yankees, but Mets. But there's only a few that I put on the shelf.
I think I think all good teams have like these players that are just clutch. And I like those teams because they just had guys that they were consistent. Like, I think that's for me, I always tell people like the reliability of the way like I do things professionally, pretty much personally. I'm never going to overwhelm you with anything, but I am going to be consistent. And I thought a lot of those guys, Paul O'Neill was that way, very consistent. Bernie was that way. Scott Brocious was that way. Those guys were not, they may make an all-star team, but they were not going to overwhelm you.
The Yankees team because it's chock full of stars, and they were not to be mean, but they were mid-card. They just got overshadowed by the bigger name, the bigger legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I think that there's something about a team where everyone feels like they can do that too. Like, most dynasties have like this dominant player. And I think probably people would think Jeter is that, especially his, Mr. November and all of that stuff. But I feel like there's a lot of guys on those teams where there was a lot of mutual respect for the way they all played together. And I know that comes down to a lot about their coach, about Torre, the way Torre did things.
Oh yeah, Joe Torre was a great manager.
And had been a good manager before that, but the fact of how he kind of got the job and to put up with George and doing so well,
Well, that's a long history with dealing with George. And
yeah, I mean, he was the most consistent manager in George's tenure. And, since George has passed away, they have had, very two managers. And
a lot less stressful.
yeah, you would say that, and everybody calls for their head the way George did, but the organization is so different now.
Well, there's a lot of pressure because there's a lot of legacy behind the Yankees.
Yeah,
Probably one of the most recognized teams in sports.
I would have to say it is the most
Yeah.
recognized.
Yeah, I can't think of another football team, basketball team, anyone else that has.
I mean,
the recognition.
there's teams in that league of American sports. I'm not speaking of like soccer and things like that, but that logo that's a brand.
Pretty well known. Yes, it is its own brand.
Like the Cowboy Star. It's just unfortunate how bad that is for their fans. Jeez.
I'm telling you. Let me ask you this: did you play as a kid baseball?
I played a little bit, due to my asthma. I was quite hampered as a youngster.
Got it.
In athletics, and when everything started growing and I started growing out of asthma, if you're not good at sports when you're young, you're kind of toast. You can't, unless you're a hell of an athlete, you don't pick up a bat at 10 or 11 and just storm the field.
Start bombing it, yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely going to be playing with the resource room kids. Well,
yeah. My solace was just I love the game. The game did not love me, but I love the game. So I love getting my one mandatory at bat and 2 innings played at a game. I just when I was in, I had fun.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't get to play that much, and then later on when I did there was a fastball. Remember West Monroe had a hardball league for just like 2 years for 18 and over. It failed because we can't do hardball. We got to do softball.
Sure.
So it switched to softball after that. But for those 2 years, Dad and I got to play on a team together. And that was right after I'd quit. I wasn't doing anything. 18, 19. I was probably at the for the second year. I think I was playing. For the first year working with you, I think I was playing a little bit, but I didn't play as much that year. But that first year, I played a lot, and I got to be in every game because I was young, so I could run at least and throw the ball.
Yeah, I remember one of your podcasts you talked about you were doing some flag football league and you were trying to get it back. People get to be playing like a year or so ago. Do you remember doing a podcast talking about that?
Yep.
And I remember thinking, boy, if you do not get hurt, I will be surprised. No offense, but
no, I know. I was
running in your mid-40s,
late 40s,
or late 40s is pretty challenging.
It is challenging. And what was embarrassing is my nephew told me I was the second fastest person on the team, which means we're screwed for next year too. But,
yikes.
But the thing is, though, I did play. It was only me and one. We hadn't played in like 8 years or something. And so it was only me and one other original. And I laughed at him. I said, "Are we too old for this?" And I plan on coming back this year. He plans on coming back. And I didn't get injured. Thank goodness. I've never gotten injured in one. I've hurt. I've been hurt. I've hobbled. I've had pain. I've, had aches and pains, but no serious injury yet or, long-term injury. So that day will happen. The days will be numbered. The days will be numbered soon enough. I realize that.
I quote all of these wrestlers that I find all this inspirational quips from.
Of wisdom.
Yeah, they're nuggets of wisdom.
Wisdom from the ring.
They're like, old gunslingers and old guys that work at the paper mill. But Dusty Rhodes said, once you take your jersey off, it's hard to put it back on.
That's true.
So it's, if you ever give up, it is
really hard to get back in.
And I think there's an old saying about the best way to get in shape is stay in shape, because that getting in, getting out is eventually you're out.
I have a friend of mine. He's a little bit younger than me. I think he'd be young 40s, but he still plays softball. He's still in softball leagues. That is his gym. He plays softball in the summer, fall ball, and spring ball. The winter's the only time he takes off. But he just found out that he hated exercising.
Yeah.
But running around, chasing after balls, hitting, swinging, running, that was fun.
Yeah. Good for him.
And he said that's the way he stays active, and that's all he's watched his portion control and then just stayed active, playing games, going to practices and everything, and that's how he keeps in shape. But when I heard that, I was like, yeah, you got to keep that motor running, right? It's never going to rev up the way it used to, but at least it still runs.
God, I use that line myself on other things. So here's another baseball question.
I'm going for it. Let's go.
We're killing.
We killed this one.
Yeah.
We'll get the topic. We had a topic which happens to be sports related.
Yeah.
We'll do it next week.
Catch
Not
you
this
next
sport
week.
though. Not even baseball.
No. With the recent passing of Pete Rose, in your opinion, is Pete Rose's legacy, if he had went into the Hall of Fame with an asterisk, is it better that he never went in? I feel it's better he never went in because he will always be like the best player that never made it to the Hall of Fame.
Okay, and it's his own fault. If he would have admitted that he bet on baseball, apologized, and just stayed quiet.
But all athletes will never. They are geared to never give in. I mean, that's how you're elite.
True. I mean, that's
because you fight your body.
That's
you fight
Charlie
adversity.
Hustle's. That's Charlie Hustle's. MO. Okay, I get that. I'm just saying, if he had done that, he would have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. But I would bet anything he is in the Hall of Fame next year.
So, what do you think's more important? So, we're going to say, I say he's the best baseball player not to be in the Hall of Fame, but a lot of people could easily say
no doubt,
Bonds,
he is. No,
Clemens.
Nope. Rose deserves more than them.
Okay. The reason I say he's the best is he did so well. He was an integral part of winning teams, not just an elite player, but he made everything better. He pushed everybody.
He went hard. He never slowed down. He gave it 100%. He's not tainted by the steroid era like the other guys were.
Well, and I don't know, and the tainted by that. I don't think there was any teams that had guys that were clean.
Okay, I'm just saying that's what's holding Bonds and Clemens back.
No, definitely.
What holding Pete Rose back isn't that he played dirty or cheated or whatnot. He's like of that era. He is the Ty Cobb of the era.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The Ty Cobb, the one that didn't care whose feelings he hurt. He was going to charge in to home plate, to second base.
You got to wonder if he would have coached 10 years, would his attitude of that drive and determination, would that have worked? Would that have worked on younger ball players? Because it definitely worked on his peers.
I think it would have.
Because the Reds won it in, was it 90?
Yep.
It was 90 when they beat the A's, swept the A's, and Piniella was running that team, and that was just a few years after Rose was out of the game.
Yep. Not that long.
So you would have to think he probably was around a lot of those young guys in spring training years before that and watching them grow and be
how
part of
influential he was with the ball club and the minor leaguers, and players still respected him.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to bet one of the best hitters in the game.
I just, I think that I think that his legacy is so much better without him being in the Hall of Fame.
Oh. So you would rather him not be in the Hall of Fame?
No, I agree. I don't think he should go into the Hall of Fame because he's stuck to his guns of he didn't do it, even though everyone knew he did it. But that's like a lot of things in life. A lot of people are sitting here saying, oh, no. But I like the fact that he's not in because he is the greatest to not be in. Because if he's not in, then it goes to a steroid era player. And then there's all kinds of argument with that.
Well, it's like, did you give me Jose Canseco's book?
Yes, Juiced.
Okay, love it, because Jose Canseco, very first chapter, owned it. I use steroids. I don't see a problem. I think everyone should use it. It made the game better. Everyone's happy. No one wants to admit it, but they love steroids and it made the game. I own it. Own it. That's great. He didn't shy away. He didn't say, well, I didn't say this or whatever. That was a good statement. You're saying the same with Pete Rose.
Yeah.
He stuck to his guns, so I get that.
Yeah, and I definitely think if you look at baseball more than any of the other major sports, steroids kept a lot of guys on the field
Longer than they would have been.
way
Yes,
longer
agreed.
because now look at how young everybody is. They are done by their mid-30s.
Yeah.
Mike Trout is probably done.
Tragedy. One of the biggest tragedies.
And
in
if
the
he
sport.
was playing 20 years ago and could get on the field and pump himself full of all kinds of anti-inflammatories and other things,
he'd still be playing today.
he would have probably not missed half the games he's missed.
No. And now that Shohei Ohtani's in Major League Baseball, no one will remember the name Trout. In 10 years, he'll be a Jeopardy question. Casual fans will not remember this person.
He will be
sadly.
the Angels Mattingly.
He is a Wally.
Best player that never made
He's
it.
a Wally Joyner. There you go. You know the name. You knew the name, but just didn't achieve greatness.
Well, he's greater than Wally Joyner. My God, Wally Joyner.
Well,
never
I'm just
won.
saying, Wally Joyner, you know, but Wally Joyner isn't Don
Wally
Mattingly.
Joyner. God, what a good call out. I always thought Wally Joyner kind of looked like Matthew Broderick.
Okay. All right. Well,
Wally Joyner's day off.
Okay, there you go. So let us know, is Wally
How
Joyner...
boring this podcast has been. This is not Brandon
glad.
and trauma.
I'm glad. This is actually what we do preview, but it's okay because next week we're going to come back with a topic, sports related, not baseball. And it's going to be a lot of fun. This one was fun too. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.